be in the presence of God. I want to welcome you up this morning to Living Word Christian Center. If you're here for your first time, lift up your hand. I want to acknowledge you this morning. God bless you. Good to have you. Come on, give them a good clap offering. Good to have you with us this morning. Amen. We'd love to connect with you after service. We have a connect corner here. We'll open up the doors and we'll have to connect with you and just love on you and pray with you and whatever we can do for you. Amen. Pick your Bible, turn to Deuteronomy chapter 7. Deuteronomy chapter 7. We have been on the series of the faithful God. The faithful God. We've been talking about man's faith, how man's faith, our faith in God, trusting and relying on God, and how God becomes faithful to us by His faithfulness and how His faith is activated by being faithful to us. So we've been talking about the faithful God. Someone say the faithful God. The faithful God. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse, when you have it, say amen. The Bible says, in the New King James Version says this, therefore, know that the Lord your God, someone say my God, your God, our God, my God, your God, He is God, the faithful God, who keeps His covenant and mercy for 1,000 generations with those who love Him and keep His commandments. Father, thank you for your word. Father, thank you for everyone that's here this morning, God, as we get ready to dedicate your children also, Father. We thank you for everything that's taking place. We thank you for the visitors. We thank you for those that you are dealing with, those that you are strengthening and building us, oh God. We thank you for everything that you're doing, God, that we would grab a hold of your faithfulness, Father, and your strength. In Jesus' name, and everybody says, amen. You know, we've been continuing our series on the faithful God, that we got to remember, when you hear the word faithfulness, or I think of the word faithfulness, I think of elderly couples. You know, my pastor, he's been married 50 years. That's some faithfulness. Come on, somebody. That is some faithfulness. That is some, no, you don't want to clap, I'm going to clap. We can raise anyone either married. And so I've been married 20 years, so that to me, that's a mark for me. Come on, 20 years, we were talking about the other thing, man, 20 years went by fast. I still feel like a teenager. She's still a teenager, hallelujah. Come on, young girl. We've been together since 16 years old. So we've been together for a while. We've been married 20. And so I look at my thought, man, it's been a minute. It's been a good minute, but just look at 50 years. That's a mark right there, man. That's a mark. I don't know what I'm talking about, but praise the Lord. 50 years. That's when they've been through the thick and thin. The pastor's been through the thick and thin. They've been through the ups and downs. You cannot be married 50 years and not go through nothing. You can't be married 20 years and not go through nothing. You cannot just be a woman and not go through nothing. Women, I know you go through stuff, just be with them, man. Praise the Lord. Trying to help you guys out this morning, amen. But when I think of faithfulness, I think of church members that have been around, man, from the beginning. I look at their faithfulness to their commitment, to the thick and thin, to the heartaches, to losing a building, to a fire, to devastation, and still standing. Come on, somebody. That is intense. Faithfulness. Some say faithfulness. Faithfulness. And the word faithful means this. Throughout its performance and one's duties. Throughout one's performance and one's duties. True to one's word, promises or vows. True to one's words, promises and vows. Steady in one's alliance, affection, and loyalty. Dependable and trustworthy. Trustworthy. Now listen, I don't know about you, but I can't think of anybody who can really fit that category. Now listen to what I'm saying. People we can trust and people that we know, they're good, but they ain't that good. See, I know I'm good, but I know I ain't that good. And so there's if you really look at it, there's only one absolutely that fits this category, and his name is Jesus. Come on, somebody. His name is Jesus. He was faithful all the way to the cross. All the way to the cross. All the way to the cross. Why is it sometimes that in church or in life itself, We live in a world where broken promises are out there. Everybody know what I'm talking about? Broken promises, broken marriages, broken vows, broken alliances, broken commitments, broken loyalties. Why is it? Because we live in a world who struggle with trust issues. So say trust. We have trust issues. What do you mean, Pastor, trust issues? We're taught, don't trust nobody. We tell them when they're young, don't trust nobody. And so then you start having trust issues. You're having trust, don't even know there's something planted in you. And so we start having trust issues. So then we get saved, and now they tell us, trust God. And well, I don't know about this God. There's a trust issue because why? Because I've learned that I've seen broken promises, broken vows, broken agreements, broken commitments, broken loyalty, and it hurt me. It disappointed me. It's called being burned. I've been burned, and it affected my emotions, and it affected how I feel. So it's difficult for me to trust. You guys okay so far? But this is the thing that I want you to see, that we serve a God who is faithful through thick and thin. We see the faithfulness of man. It is not compared to the faithfulness of God. And so we make mistakes, we break vows, we break promises, but it doesn't mean that God is not with us. Church, come on somebody, that God is not with us. So we need to understand that God alone and God himself is a perfect, faithful God. He's a perfect and faithful God. God alone is perfect in his performance of his duties. This is the thing that I've learned throughout the years. Sometimes we think if God doesn't show up on the time that we put on him, that he is not a faithful God. He is. Someone say he is. He is. God is on his time clock. And the thing about it, he knows what's best for him. You just imagine if God himself would have just rescued his son before time. Jesus was there, and he was. All the soldiers came to him, and Judas there kisses him and gave him a kiss on his cheek. And the Bible says that they recognized him by a kiss, and they grabbed him and took him. Imagine if God would have stepped in and rescued him there. Didn't mean God wasn't faithful when he was in prison. You with me so far? Now all of a sudden there he is, and all of a sudden they're ripping off his clothes, they're tearing his garments, and then all of a sudden they start whipping him. Just imagine if God would have showed up right there. Didn't mean if God didn't show up, didn't mean God wasn't faithful. And all of a sudden you just imagine how there he is, and he's been whipped, now he's on the cross, and he's carrying his cross, on the road on his way to the place of school, and he's carrying, and there he is, and all of a sudden, church, God could have delivered them there, but God didn't. Someone say time. Time is very crucial. Timing is everything. All of a sudden there he is on the cross. Not even on the cross did God spare him. Not even on the cross. But God was faithful. So say God was faithful. God was faithful. All of a sudden the Bible says that he gave up the ghost. And it is finished. All of a sudden now he's in the grave, and now he's in the cave, and he's sitting there. But the time of God came. When he descended, God rescued him from the pits of hell. And because of that, and the timing of God and God's faithfulness, that you and I can get saved, that you and I can be delivered, you and I can be forgiven, you and I, God can take our sins and wash them away and cast them to the east and to the west, where they'll never meet, never again. That's the faithfulness of God. God says, my timing is everything. I'm faithful to my time. It's the same thing. I talk about the metamorphosis stage. The metamorphosis stage, I talk about the caterpillar transferring into a beautiful butterfly. It's called a metamorphosis stage, and it gets into the cocoon. And the proven fact that had some scientists that here was the cocoon, here was the caterpillar in the cocoon. Well, it was in the cocoon. They said, well, let's count out the caterpillar. Let's make some slits for it so it don't have to struggle. So it don't have to go through what it needs to go through. Come on, and so all of a sudden, when they made those slits on that caterpillar, when that caterpillar came out, it came out and died. They found out it was the struggle that made the caterpillar strong. It was the struggle to break through the cocoon that caused it to get its strength. I'm telling you today, it's your struggle that's going to make you strong. You got to push through your struggle. God is faithful. God is faithful. But you got to push yourself in the midst of the metamorphosis in your life. We can't bring last year's drama into New Year drama. We can't bring the stuff that we went through last year and do the same thing last year and expect God to do something new. It ain't going to happen. God is saying, I'm as faithful I was last year that I am this year. But we need to fix us. Someone say us. God is telling us, look, this is what I love. In Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9, he says this. Therefore know that the Lord your God, he's our God. He is God, and he is the faithful God. So say the faithful God. He's the faithful God, and I love this part, who keeps his covenant. He says, I keep my agreement. I made a covenant with you. I'm going to keep it. I promised you I'm going to keep it. I made a vow to you. I'm going to keep it. He says, I'm telling you, I'm going to keep what I've spoken to your life about. It might not be in your time, but it's going to be on my time, but I'm going to keep it. Wow. Anybody have any kids here? No? Okay, you don't got no praise the Lord. Your kids tells me, Mom, Dad, I want this. Wait. But I want it now. No, you wait. I'll give it to you when I'm ready. No? Okay, just me. Praise the Lord. And all of a sudden, when they forget about it, that's when I give it to them. They don't forget about it. Oh yeah, okay. Praise the Lord. That's how it is sometimes. God will say, son, daughter, I know. Just wait. It's going to be okay. You're going to be all right. Come on, somebody. God keeps his covenant, his mercy. Now his mercy, we don't deserve his mercy. But his mercy is there for us to grow. His mercy is there for us to blossom. His mercy is there to look at I'm merciful with you in every situation. And I love what he says. He says for 1,000. Some say 1,000. Oh, 1,000 generations, man. That's heavy. Now listen to this, please. It says that God is just. This is what he's saying. I am just as faithful to you and to me as he was in the very first generation. Listen to this. God has never been more faithful to one generation. He's never been faithful to more than to one. Well, back then God was more. No. He is as faithful he was then as he is now. He is faithful now as he was then. God is no less faithful to you and to me than he was to Abraham, Moses, Joseph, Daniel, David. As much as he was faithful to them, he is faithful to us. This is what we need to get. We need to get out of our minds. Well, it was better then. No, it wasn't better then. He is as faithful then as he is now. But for our minds, we think, well, it ain't the same. God is the same today, tomorrow, and forevermore. Come on, somebody. God, that's who God is. God is a faithful God. Now, the ones that get weird is us. You don't believe me? You haven't looked in the mirror lately, huh? Sometimes we get weird and we act up. It's not him. The devil plays on our mind. Yes. And he whispers and he says things and he tells us things. God don't love you. Everybody's mad at you. Oh, ain't you embarrassed? So he tries to manipulate your mind. And every time we do something wrong or done something wrong, he tries to manipulate the mind. An idle mind is a dangerous place. An idle mind is a devil's playground. He'll mess with you. He can't insert. Listen to what I'm saying, please. The enemy will come. You can't stop him from putting thoughts in your mind. But you can stop him from yourself from dwelling on those thoughts. Come on, listen to what I'm saying. You cannot stop a bird from flying over your head. But you can sure hide under something where you don't poop on your head. And that's the way the enemy is. He'll come and he'll try to inject your mind that God is not faithful. How did God allow this? God doesn't care. No, he does, because in the hardest times, he's with us. Come on, so in the hardest times, he's with us. But he likes to inject our thoughts and our minds. His whole purpose is to sidetrack us. To sidetrack us off of God's faithfulness. Keep our eyes on the imperfection of men and keep them on the perfection of God. Come on, somebody. And he wants us to keep our eyes on the trouble and not the one who solves the trouble. He wants us to keep our eyes on the pain and not the one who relieves the pain. And that's his purpose. And so he'll mess with our minds. He'll mess with us. How many of the enemy will mess with your mind? All this church is going to heaven. Praise the Lord. The rest of you guys, I don't know. Thank you, Jesus. But the enemy messes with our minds, and he messes, and he likes us, and he tells us. And this is the thing. He whispers truth with lies. He'll twist the truth with lies. And he'll say, well, I thought God was a good God. There's nothing good about this. I thought your God was a healing God. Ain't nothing good about this. See, that's, you guys with me so far? So this is how he likes to manipulate. He likes to pervert our minds and mess with us to take us off that God is a faithful God. Come on, somebody. The fact is, church, when we look at God's track record of his faithfulness, from Genesis all the way to Revelations, we wonder why haven't we fully trusted him? Look at all what he's done. There's not one point in the Bible that God lacked in his faithfulness. But also there's not one place, but there is a lot of places where man failed, where men were not faithful, where men fell short, where women fell short, where prophets fell short, where kings fell short. But God always stepped in and says, it's okay. I love you. Come on, get it together. Come on, get yourself back up. Come on, get it up. So God does not change. He remains the same. He's there as much as he was in the beginning as he is now. You got it with me so far? Come on, give the Lord a great clap offering, amen. So again, God has been faithful to keep every promise he made. He's been faithful to keep every promise he made. Second, God has been faithful to follow through with his judgment on issues. If God said he was going to judge something, he judged it. So God keeps his promises to us. And when God says he's going to do something, he's going to do something. And when he judged, he judged. And the only time those things are overturned is when God's people got a hold of them, faced the wall, said, God, God, oh, God, and cried out to him that he allowed change to come. He said, Lord, God told the man of God, I'm going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And all of a sudden, he starts praying on God, but if you find 50 people, and he goes, okay, go see what you can do. Nothing. Even 5 people, he said, nothing. He kept his word to judge it and to destroy it. So God keeps his promises. Come on, God keeps his promises, God keeps his judgments. The last one, God has been faithful to honor every covenant he has made with man. So he made a covenant, he made an agreement with you, he's going to keep it. Come on, somebody, he made a covenant, he made an agreement, he's going to keep it. I'm telling you, he's saying that our children, to 1,000 generations, it's going to see the mercy and the grace of God. Come on, somebody, that is so powerful, that is so great, that's so awesome. See, God's faithfulness, church, please listen, never fails. It never wavers. It never fails, it never wavers, it never falls. God is faithful. God is true. God is trustworthy. God is dependable. God is reliable. He is 100% of the time. God is a faithful God. He's a mighty God. He's a strong God. God keeps his word. He said, I'll keep my word with you, sons and daughters. It might be hard. It might be rough, but you're going to be okay. Trust my word. Trust my process. Trust the anointing. Trust the strength. I'm going to give you what you need in the times of your situation, in the times of your hurt. It may not make sense, but the God that I serve is a living God. He's a mighty God. He'll get you out of every mean this year, 2020, no more lies, no more deception. I'm raising the bar in my life. I've been through too much to let go. I've been through too much to stop now. I've been through too much to hold back this year. 2020, God, you're going to fulfill what you told to me. God, you're going to fulfill what you spoke in my life. God, you gave me a covenant. You gave me an agreement. God, you want to keep your vow. You want to keep your promise. God, you are who you say you are. Woo! Give the Lord a big clap. It's not that God fails, it's that man wavers. We don't serve a God that fails. We serve a man that lets his flesh get in the way. How many ever let your flesh get in the way? I'm like, my God, why? God says, that's what I'm saying. You see me rescue your marriage. You see me pull you out of prison. You see me touch your children. You see me heal back what you destroyed. You see me put everything back in place. And you think I'm not going to do it again. You think I'm not going to. See, this is the thing. When we go through the hardest things of our life, it feels like it's over. When you're in the midst of your situation, it feels like, how can I make it through this? I've been through some horrific things in my life. And I'm like, God, how am I going to? It brought me closer. See, one thing that all of us have in common is called pain. Someone say pain. We have pain. The difference is if you don't get a hold of God, your pain will turn to bitterness. The pain of life will either cause you to become bitter or broken. Listen to what I'm saying. Bitterness keeps you away. Bitterness will keep you hurt. But if you allow your pain to turn into brokenness, your brokenness will put you before God. Your brokenness will take you down. Your brokenness will open you up. Your brokenness will let you get healed. So don't let your pain turn to bitterness. Let your pain turn to brokenness. God can work with a broken man. God can work with a broken woman. God can work with brokenness. The Bible says that the anointing or the oil could not come out of the alabaster box until it was broken. Someone said broken. Broken. But we don't like to be broken because we think what's broken is no good. If a cup is broken, it's no good. God says a cup that's broken, I can restore it. Come on, somebody. When we look at things that are broken, we throw them away. God says, no. In brokenness, I find my treasures. In brokenness, God finds his treasure. God is a faithful God 100% of the time. Amen. It's just our perspective has to change. How we see things has to change. How we perceive things has to change. It's very important, church. Very important. Here is an example of God's faithfulness. Here in Genesis chapter 12, go to Genesis chapter 12, verse 1. It says, now the Lord had said to Abraham, his name was Abraham, which means father. It wasn't Abraham, it was Abraham. Get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. He said, you need to get out of your comfortable zone, Abraham. I've given you a promise. I've given you a word, and you're staying stuck in the comfort. You're staying stuck in your place. I need you to get out of your comfort zone. I need you to step out. This 2020, out of your comfort zone. This year, somebody step out. Step out because God is a faithful God. He said, get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house to a land that I will show you. Sometimes I love my family. I will love my family, but sometimes my family will talk me out of things. I'm a crazy guy. In a good way, because I used to be in a bad way. And I like to do crazy things, man. I'm like, let's do this. But sometimes he said, I don't get to separate yourself because your family will talk you out of functioning in your faith. Now listen to this, please. Here are some wonderful things I want you to understand. Here's 2 obstacles that Moses faced. God speaks to him. Look at verse 2 says this, and I love this part, man. He says, when you get out of your comfortable zone and you watch who's speaking into your life. Look at verse 2. I will. Don't say I will. Now here's God talking to Abraham. He says, I will make you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. This is what he's telling them. See, the word Abraham means father. Abraham means father of many nations. So here he was calling him father, Abraham, which had no children yet. He had no kids. So he's calling him father, and he's telling him, I will. God said, I'm going to do it, not you. Amen. He says, I will make you a great nation, and I'm going to bless you. And I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. Look at verse 3. Here God again. I will bless those who bless you. So every time people are blessing you, they're getting blessed. Come on, every time someone brings a blessing and blesses you, they get blessed because you're a blessing. So I'm a blessing. Woo, you might look like a mess, but you're a blessing. Oh, Jesus, listen, I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. My God. See, no one wants to talk about that, but that's the faithfulness of God. People stand up against you and talk bad about you. He said, I'll take care of it. You don't have to. You don't have to be a Facebook gangster. Come on, somebody. Save that drama for the world. But you are not in the world. Come on, somebody. We are not in the world. Oh, we live in the world, around out the world. Come on, somebody. He says, but when people start throwing stuff at you, don't worry about it. I got you. People, we're not used to trusting God to do it. We're going to do it ourselves. I'll do this. Kick off your high heels and tighten up the skirt and don't you dare touch my child. You have to learn to trust God. God, you handle it. Because if I do, I'm going to catch a case. If I do, my wife's going to catch 2 of them. And so we have to learn to trust God to fight our battles. He said, I will curse him who curses you. Listen to this is prophetic right here. And in you, in me, in us, all the families of the earth shall be blessed. He said, Abraham, because of you. Oh, man. Come here, Ernie. Spooky Ernie. They make him smile, but they don't like to smile. Touch him, Lord. Father Abraham, because of you, word, out of you, out of him, the whole earth is blessed. Because God said, I will make you great. I will make you a nation. And those who bless you, I will bless those. And those who curse you, I will curse those. Because of you, oh God. Because of Abraham. Because of the covenant, because of the agreement. God is saying, I'm blessing the whole nation. Not even the whole world, the whole earth. Come on, somebody. That's a powerful prophetic word. Right there, because of him. In you, all the families on the earth shall be blessed. So don't you dare tell me you're cursed. Don't you dare tell me, you gave your life to God. God delivered you. You're set free. God will break curses. God will break yokes. God will break bondage. You went like your mama. You went like your daddy. You went like this. You went like that. Lord. You were set free. You were delivered. Come on, somebody. That's what God always served. Because of him, we blessed. Thank you, Papa Abraham. My God. Here's the 2 obstacles I want you guys to see. God gives him this great promise. Gives him this great covenant, this great agreement, this great vow. One obstacle was Abraham and Sarah had never been able to bear children. So they're trying to have children. And he tells them this prophetic word. That he's going to be great and the whole earth is going to be blessed. And he goes on to more and more and more. How can God be faithful to a promise to make a great nation out of Abraham's offspring when Abraham has no offspring? You see what I'm saying? Like, look at, well, how can you promise me, God, that you're going to do this with me when I don't even got a man? Well, how do you say, God, that you're going to do this with my life and I'm still in Sunday school. I'm still an usher. I'm still a cook. No, I cook good things now, praise the Lord. Because I have you there for a time. So I say time. It's the time that we get mad at. Yes. Babe, is it ready yet? No. Oh, man, I'm hungry. You don't get mad at her, you get mad at the time. But when you start getting mad at the time, you get mad at her. So we get mad at the time that God's taking. We start taking it out on God. And we start saying, God, you're not faithful, but God, what you said, and people are saying, and everybody is saying, and my mama's saying, and my daddy's saying, and sister Mama is saying, and brother Bucket Mouth is saying this, and sister, you know that sister, that one that doesn't just, everybody, when I mention her name, everybody knows her name. Sister my. You guys with me so far? And so we get mad at the time that we take it out on the one holding the time. Amen. The second one, the other obstacle was that Abraham and Sarah were past their normal childbearing years. When God made this promise to them, Abraham was 75. My man. That's how Brooklyn. Amen. He was 75 years old. And Sarah was 65. This is when he spoke the promise. He spoke the promise, he spoke the covenant, he spoke the agreement. And it took 24 years to pass. Man, 24 years, guys. That's the time there. That's some time. Who's anybody here 24? My wife said right here. So I'm the double digits over here. Praise the Lord. Okay, I'll move on. Here we go. Passed, and Abraham and Sarah remained childless. No child. So 24 years have passed, and still nothing. Now, don't say they didn't try. Everybody tried. A lot of tries, a lot of misses. It appears that God had forgotten about that. Because you ever know when you do your best and you try doing your best, listen to what I'm saying. I know it might be a little graphic, but listen to this. I know they were trying. Because when you're in the house of God and God gives you the word, you try your best to help God out. What do you mean, Pastor? You try, like, you push yourself, and you do all you can do. But God said, I really need you just to be you. Yes. Do your part. Be faithful. Do what you got to do. But I really don't need your help. If I say something, I'm going to keep it. If I say something, I'm going to do it. Yes, do what you need to do. Yes, be faithful. Yes, be committed. Yeah, that's fine. But my timing is the perfect time. Amen. So here he is, and they're trying, and I can feel getting discouraged. Because I know I got discouraged, and I'm like, God, are you sure you're going to do something? God said, I'm going to do it. But here's some pain just to help you out, to make you know that pain is just to show you're still alive. And I'm like, oh man, my leg hurts. Oh, you can still feel it, it's still there. Hallelujah. So sometimes pain is just to remind you you're still alive. You're gonna be okay. And so here he is, and I can feel Abraham going through the strangers. Now listen to me, please. All of a sudden, God keeps his promises. God keeps his promises. God will always keep his promise according to his time, not ours. I want you to stress that. Not our timing, his timing. But also maybe not our timing, his timing. In Genesis chapter 18, Abraham is now 99 and Sarah is 89. Wow. And all of a sudden he's in his tent and it's a hot day, and the Lord sends 3 people to speak to Abraham and tell Abraham, hey Abraham, I need you to stock up on some pickles and some ice cream and some crickets and honey, because your woman you're going to have a baby. Now, God gave him a promise, and now God is speaking the promise into existence, into his life. So now, all of a sudden, and finally in Genesis 21, 25 years later, God kept his word, his promise to Abraham and Sarah, gave birth to a son, and they named him Isaac. Now, Isaac is the promise, but Isaac is just the promised door. He's not just, if God would have said, that's your promise, he's not just the promise, but he's the promised door. He's the doorway to all the promises and all the blessings and to everything that's going to come. Come on, so he was a doorway to open everything up for us. So he gives them that promise. Now, this is the thing that I want you guys to understand. We are here, and all of a sudden, Genesis chapter 22. Genesis 22. Verse 1 says this. Now it came to pass, after these things, that God tested Abraham. It's funny, wouldn't you think that Abraham would have been like this already? The man of faith. Listen to Abraham was the man of faith. The man of faith, which he would have been better at it already. Because during this time already, he already gave his wife up twice. He said, no, she's not my wife, she's my sister. Ponle. And then again, 24 years, again, it's just that she's my carnada. We look up like that. And the Bible said the Lord spoke to the king. My wife gave me a funny thought the other day. She said, do you think that, this is funny. She said, don't you think that Sarah was probably feeling guilty for being with those two kings? Did she say, here, take Hagar? I said, only a woman can think something like that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you got to read the story in Genesis. She probably felt a little, but then that guilt ate her up. Get out of here. Well, yeah, back to the sermon. Back to the sermon. That made me laugh. So anyways, God tested Abraham and said to him, Abraham. Now see his name's changing. Abraham. It wasn't Abraham anymore. It was Abraham. And he said, here I am. Then he said, take now your son. Because now he had a son. Now he was a father of nations. Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moron, I call it Moron, and offer him there as a burnt offering. One of the mountains of which I shall tell you. So Abraham rose early in the morning and saddled his donkey, took two of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and he split the wood for the burnt offering, and rose and went to a place which God had told him. Look at verse 5. And Abraham said to his young men, stay here with the donkey, the lad, and I will go yonder and worship, and we will come back to you. Listen, God, I want you to go and I want you to take your son. This is convenient for baptism. Maybe dedication, excuse me. He goes, I gave you your son Isaac, the promise I kept. But now I need you to keep your promise, and I need you to give him back to me. Are you willing to give him back to me? He goes and he saddles a donkey, and he takes it, and he goes out there. He said, I want you to come, I want you to sacrifice him to me. Now God does not really do human sacrifices. So this was awkward. You gotta understand, throughout the Bible, there's a lot of sacrifices. They meant certain things. Without the sacrifice, there's no atonement, there's no forgiveness. So back then, they would cut oxen and doves with their blood in half and sprinkle blood on the altar and on you. So according to your sin, it's called blood you would eat. Some people come in that are so holy with a little dove. Tell me you guys that are messed up, they will fight oxen. Carrying all that wool. Come on, somebody. And they would slaughter the wool, and they would sprinkle on the altar, they would throw it on themselves, they would burn the fat of it, and there was an atonement they would do once a year. And so now here he is, it's a living sacrifice unto him. But God was not doing that. It was just a significance of this. Are you willing to give your child, and are you willing to sacrifice your son to me and give him to me so that he would raise up to be mighty, to be great? Will you give him back to me so that when I return him back to you, sacrifice right now, when you trust me at this. He does. The Bible says that when he was sacrificing, the angel grabbed his hand. He said, man, because of your obedience, the Bible said that he brought in a lamb for the sacrifice, and he returned. But he was speaking prophetically that God is a faithful God. God keeps his word. That he didn't give you this son for nothing to work out. See, God give you your kids, guys. Listen to what I'm saying. That we would raise them in the house of God. To do what godly counsel around them. So they won't have to go through things that we went through. They don't have to go through stuff that we've been through. So that they would raise the child up in the right way. And they would have the blessing on their life. Can someone say amen? Come on, amen. I know sometimes when we get overzealous and making decisions sometimes that we don't think. The reason why we give to God is that we would surround them with godly counsel. I wish I would have had counsel like that when I was younger. But when I got saved, the Lord surrounded me with godly men restored to my life. Godly men like Larry Reed, godly men like Pastor Ruben, godly men like we used to call him this pastor of the Lord. All these pastors are godly counsel that we get from these men that helped me, that blessed me. I was 19 years old when I gave my life to the Lord. And I thank God for that. I thank God for that. Because if not, I could have wasted my life away. I could have destroyed my life. But I gave my 20s to the Lord. I gave my 30s to the Lord. I gave my 40s to the Lord. I'm working on the 50s to the Lord. God has been faithful all the times. Some of the hardest moments of my life He's been faithful. Some of the hardest moments, we have to understand when things happen, know that God is with you. The Bible says in Isaiah, he goes, I won't stop the fire, I won't stop the flood. He said, but I'll be with you in the middle of your fire, in the midst of your floods, in the midst of the waters. He goes, I will be there with you. And sometimes things happen. God is with you. Come on, somebody, God is with you. Don't y'all stand this morning. Know this, God is with you. God is with you. God was faithful to spare Noah and his family in the flood. God was faithful to bring Moses and the children of Israel out of Egypt. God was faithful to deliver Jericho into the hands of Joshua and the Israelites. God was faithful to deliver the Midianites into the hands of Gideon and the 300. God was faithful to deliver Joseph from the Egyptian prison. God was faithful to deliver Shadrach, Meshach, and the Abednego from the fires. God was faithful to deliver them, and He's faithful to deliver us. Come on, give the Lord a big round of applause. The scripture is what it is to 1,000 generations. God is as faithful then as He is now. And He is now as He is then. His faithfulness is not getting better, guys. We get it. It's just there. Well, He's more faithful to you, Pastor, because you're a pastor. No. Well, He's more faithful to them because their leaders know. He is faithful to those who love Him. And also those who love Him. People say, well, how do you push through your stuff? I have to stop listening to me and listen to Him. That's how I make them listen to what I'm saying. You think I don't feel pain? You think I don't feel hurt? I feel it. When people leave, when people do something, I've lost my loved ones, I've lost my mother, I've lost my father, I've lost my sister, I've lost a lot of nephews, I've lost a lot of family members while serving God. Close to me. My father, who I just restored my relationship with him, and then a few months later, he passed away. So what I had to do was take my ears off listening to me and put my ears to listen to Him. That was the most important thing that helped me make it. I'm also like, I'm telling you, take your ears off of listening to you and start listening to God. I'm challenging you, take your eyes and stop listening to the trouble and put on the one who answers all the Let that get into your spirit. God is faithful. God has been faithful. And God will always be faithful. Maybe you're here this morning, see, Pastor, this is my first time here. I don't know this God you're talking about. I don't know this Jesus you're talking about. This is my first time in church. I never gave my life to God, but today I want to give my life to God. I want to give my heart to God. I want a new start, a fresh start. I want to start this year off right. I want to get some things in order in my life. I want to give my heart to God. I want to give my heart to Jesus. If that's you this morning, lift up your hand. I want to pray with you. So that's me, Pastor. That's me. I need God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Or maybe you're here this morning and say, Pastor, I've drifted away. I've fallen away. But I need to get back. I need to get some things right with God. If that's you this morning, lift up your hand. I want to pray with you. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. You're here this morning, say, Pastor, I've been going through some stuff. I've been going through some things. I've been going through some agony. I've been going through some obstacles. I've been going through some trouble. I've been going through some things in my life. I've been going through some situations and the enemy has lied in my mind and he's told me stuff. He's whispered things into me. But today I choose not to listen to him. Today I choose to listen to the word of God. Today I choose to listen to his promises. Today I choose to listen to him. That I'll get my eyes off of the trouble and put my eyes on him. That I'll take my eyes off my hurt and put it on him. That I will stop listening to what I'm trying to say and listen to what he's trying to tell me. Because I know God is faithful. God has been faithful. And God will always be faithful. Help me to get a better perspective on what I'm going through. Help me to become everything you call me to be. If that's you this morning, you lifted up your hand for salvation. You lifted your hand for restoration. You lifted your hand because God spoke to you and God's dealing with you. I want you to come now. Come and bring everything you're going through. Bring it to the altar. Hands are coming from where their hands are coming. Come down now. This is your time. Bring what you're going through.